And Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, returns. Angela, you have
Yes.
yet another big royal exclusive, which I've been desperate to hear about. King Charles doesn't want Prince Harry and Meghan with him in Balmoral this year. No invite to Scotland. Tell me what's going on.
Well, they haven't invited them, but it's not, I'm afraid, as grand as you'd like, because they didn't invite them the last couple of years, but they have said, come if you want to, sort of thing. Not we really, really need you. What the difference is that Harry and Meghan are saying they want to get friendly with the royal family again. They need them. They want to make everything nice. And they were obviously including going on holiday to Scotland. But the reality is, if they wanted to go, I don't think Prince Charles would stop them coming when Catherine and William had gone home, something like that. But I don't think they will come because Meghan's not interested in going to Scotland. And there are no photographers there to take pictures of what she's doing. So I think that's out of the question. And also, we still have the King who has cancer treatment and also with Princess. And we must make sure that they have a rest and a calm, and they don't want any arguments. And Meghan, I know, is still determined to sit down with the royal family and see what they've done wrong and why she's so unhappy and apologize. And of course, Harry will want the same thing. And they don't want to do that on holiday. It's now 4 years. Go and, live your own life. Be happy. Forget about all these things. But she is bearing a grudge. And so I think you need to avoid that and have a very quiet time. King Charles and Camilla love Scotland and they want to have peace and quiet, reading, talking. It doesn't matter if it rains, and to just enjoy themselves. And of course, Meghan is also annoyed with the king because she feels that
What? Why?
he is taking over all the spotlight for her selling jam.
Her
Now, this
scam jam. Remember, I call it the scam jam, Angela.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is almost unbelievable because he's been having it made since 1999 and well before Meghan was even thought about. And he sold it, all of it goes to charity, whereas Meghan wants it all for herself. And she's got it all wrong again, and she wanted to have a go and try to get hold of the king and argue about it. But you can't ring the king directly. He doesn't have a mobile phone and it goes through lots of aides, and they just wouldn't have put her through had she managed to try.
Wow, that's astonishing to watch. She was hoping that Charles would say, oh, I'm not going to sell any jam anymore because you want to do it with your ludicrous new Gwyneth Paltrow style business. Is she really that delusional?
Well, it's not just jam, is it? It's lots of
No.
different foods that the king has made. And if she tries to get hold of one, she'll want to get through, more than one, a whole load. She's got a whole list of things she wants to do. But so far, we've only had 50 going to her friends or people she knows or stars, celebrities, and one which was raspberries instead of strawberries. But it's not coming together. It's just not going anywhere somehow.
The relationship between Meghan Markle and the royal family has been under public scrutiny for years. Ever since Prince Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, every interaction, or lack of interaction, has been closely analyzed. Now, a new claim has emerged that is once again reigniting debate. According to royal commentator Angela Levin, King Charles has refused phone calls from Meghan Markle. And in a striking addition, it is suggested that Meghan wanted to argue. The claim is simple on the surface, but the implications are far more complicated. Because if true, it suggests communication between Meghan Markle and the king is not just limited, but actively strained. So, what exactly is being said? And what does it really tell us about the current state of royal family relations? Let's break it down. The video begins with Angela Levin's remarks. And as always, the framing is direct and highly interpretive. The key claim is that King Charles has refused Meghan Markle's phone calls. But what stands out even more is the added detail that Meghan allegedly wanted to argue. That phrase completely changes the tone of the story, because it doesn't just suggest a failed conversation. It suggests intent, conflict, confrontation, and that immediately pushes the narrative away from neutral communication issues into something more emotionally charged.
Well, look, I'm absolutely delighted to hear Angela Charles just say no. Just say no, both in terms of Balmoral and not entertaining these conversations with Meghan. Ridiculous conversations. I mean, as if someone battling really serious cancer should have to go and rake through all of these issues from 4 years ago that she's already moaned about infinitum in media appearance after media appearance. I think it says a lot about her that she wouldn't actually say, please, can I come to Balmoral? I promise you that I am not going to raise any negative issues because I know that you are undergoing chemotherapy and I just want to be there for you. But that isn't her personality. And we know that, Angela. And another reason that we know that, and I'm so sad about this one, is that it's Thomas Markle's 80th birthday tomorrow. He is Meghan's beloved father. Until she met Prince Harry, she used to praise her dad as one of the biggest influences in her life. And remember, for much of her teenage years, Doria, her mum, who she adores so much, wasn't there. And it was Thomas who was doing all of the day-to-day raising of her. It was Thomas who was paying for her university fees. Now he is an elderly man. He is recovering from a serious stroke, which has taken away his ability to speak properly. All he wants is to see her, hear from her, and to meet his two grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet. But you're hearing, Angela, that she's not going to reach out on Thomas Markle's
No,
80th.
I think that's a tragedy. You see, she can't give in. She wants to win. But if only she could just do it. 80th birthday, they're not going to do any harm, a parent of that age. And he longs to see his grandchildren. He hasn't seen them. He hasn't met Harry. And I think it's really, really unkind. If she could just let go and do that. I don't know why she's got such hatred for him and won't have anything to do with him, because she has, as you say, felt very much very close to him for years when she was a teenager. And she said that, he's been wonderful to her. So none of us know what it is. Parents aren't perfect, as we all know. We have failures, and she should be forgiving. She talks a lot about that, humanitarianism and all that sort of stuff. But really, that begins at home, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I just think it's unbelievably cruel.
So do I.
However, it's important to recognize that this is commentary, not confirmed royal communication. Private conversations within the royal family are not typically disclosed publicly in detail. So much of this interpretation is based on secondary reporting and opinion. To understand how this story is being framed, the video shifts to King Charles. We see him attending royal engagements, performing official duties, maintaining a composed public presence as monarch. The implication being drawn is that Charles is deliberately keeping distance from conflict, choosing stability over direct engagement. And in the narrative of the video, refusing calls becomes symbolic. Not just a misconnection, but a sign of emotional and relational separation. Whether that interpretation is accurate is another matter. But it is clearly the direction the story is being shaped toward. The focus then shifts to Meghan Markle. The video frames her as someone attempting to initiate contact with the royal family. But according to Angela Levin's comments, that contact is not peaceful or reconciliatory in tone. It is framed instead as potentially confrontational. This is where the phrase "wanted to argue" becomes central, because it encourages viewers to interpret Meghan's intentions rather than just her actions. And that distinction matters. One describes behavior, the other assigns motive. And motive is always more subjective. As with many royal commentary videos, the broader context quickly comes into play. The departure from royal duties, the move to the United States, the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, Harry's memoir Spare. All of these events are used to frame the ongoing tension between the Sussexes and the royal family. In this narrative, the phone call dispute is not isolated. It is part of a longer history of fractured communication and unresolved conflict. And that is what gives the story its emotional weight.
And do you remember when Harry said, oh, well, Meghan doesn't have a father anymore? No, she does. She does. Thomas Markle is about a 2.5-hour drive. You just need to hop in your car and go from Montecito to Rosarito. That's it. Do it tomorrow. Do you really want the next phone call to be your dad has passed away and to live with those regrets forever? Do you really want to justify to Archie and Lilibet that you didn't allow them to meet your own grandfather, a man who's very accomplished in his own right, who won Emmy Awards? I mean, honestly, it really upsets me because he was a good dad and the Markles are a good family. I know that sometimes they can be a little bit edgy, a little bit controversial. I love that, but I know they care about each other and they love each other. And of course, Angela, it's in direct contrast to the celebrations for Camilla, the Queen, who has turned 77 today. And my goodness, what a way to spend it. We've got some incredible pictures of her at the state opening of Parliament. Now, look, this is the last way, right, that she would want to celebrate her birthday. And she's injured as well, Angela.
Yes, she twisted her ankle yesterday, or she got her foot caught somewhere. But today she didn't have a bandage on. So she was obviously feeling much better. She just was very careful when she got into the carriage or got out of the carriage. But otherwise she was fine. She's remarkable, really, because she laughs about it and says that, you know, she was in her mid-50s when she started to work, and everyone else was retiring, all her friends, and she was just getting going. And the more she's done it, she said to me, I wrote her biography too, was that the more she did, the more she wanted to do. And she's done marvelous things that people wouldn't often to do, like domestic violence and all that, and helping children read. And she's also, you can see that she's absolutely wonderful with the king. He really needs her. And just as they were coming out of the Abbey and walking, he looked round because she wasn't right with him, because he obviously came first with his trail. And, you know, she rushed. It was a very fast movement of 2 or 3 steps and held his hand. And it seemed calmer. Everything was fine. And I thought it was lovely. I mean, they are very close. They understand each other tremendously well. And she doesn't mind if she's got wrinkles. She says people have to take her for what she is, which is interesting to know. And I think she's a role model for women who are over 50, because she says, you know, you don't have to finish, you don't have to end. Not that we're all going to find a king somewhere who can afford to keep us in amazing life, but that you can change your life. And if anyone has shown an example of that, it's her.
Indeed it is. And look, I've softened to Camilla in recent years, but I have to be completely honest, because you know I always am, Angela. I am one of those people who did have concerns about Camilla, especially becoming queen. I felt a huge amount of loyalty to Diana, and I didn't like what went on with her in the marriage. However, she has done a really good job. And I just wanted to show you actually this little moment from yesterday, because it shows how protective Charles is of Camilla. So it was absolutely bucketing down with rain on their engagement, and he becomes absolutely furious because she's trying to hold the umbrella to save herself from getting wet, and there's no one there to help her put her jacket on. And look at Charles erupt in this moment.
A raincoat, isn't it? It's a raincoat.
Yes. Yeah.
The public reaction in the video is predictably divided. Some viewers see Angela Levin's comments as further evidence that communication between Meghan and the royal family has completely broken down. They interpret the refusal of calls as a clear sign of distance. Others are far more skeptical. They point out that these claims are not independently verified, and that royal communication is private and rarely discussed in detail by official sources. This creates a familiar split in perception, where the same story is interpreted in completely different ways depending on the viewer's perspective on the Sussexes.
And Angela, the lip readers say that Charles was delivering, shall we say, a volley of tough words to his aide there, his courtier. What did you make of it?
Yes, well, I mean, I think he's probably very tired after those 2 hectic days in the islands. And when you're having all this cancer treatment, it does take the energy away from you. And he didn't want her to get wet, and he didn't want her to catch a cold. The interesting thing is that Camilla wore it until she went to the welcoming people who were welcoming them, and she could see that she's actually got it still around her. So she went, oh, like that, with her shoulders, and the coat fell on the chair, and then she could sit down, and it was all right. She didn't want to sit there with a coat on. Very funny, actually, very funny. But they work very well together. And
he needs her. He needs her, as you say. Keeps him calm.
He does need her.
Because he does have that temper, which every now and then fires up in public.
As the video moves toward its conclusion, the focus shifts away from the specific claim and toward the bigger picture, the relationship between Meghan Markle and the royal family. The question being raised is whether communication has truly broken down entirely, or whether these reports simply reflect ongoing tensions that are being amplified through commentary. The refusal of phone calls becomes a symbol in the narrative, a stand-in for a much larger issue: trust, distance, and unresolved conflict. But the video does not offer a definitive answer. Instead, it leaves viewers with speculation. And in the world of royal reporting, speculation often speaks louder than certainty. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think communication between Meghan Markle and King Charles is truly broken down? Or are these claims being exaggerated by commentary and media interpretation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal family analysis, celebrity reactions, and in-depth commentary. Subscribe for more royal breakdowns bell.